Hey guys, Tinman here. You're looking at a really nice example of a Bigfoot tree. Of the forest being abilities and growth, you can just see realize it's deformed a little bit. Realize it is on one side. Realize we're by the Mission Raceways. Realize all those trees back there that stand as individual trees used to never tell us that story. It was just a mess of trees because they're really that kind of a tree. Just realize some of those things. And I'm going to get you to realize some huge strength thing here. Okay? Realize where maybe I come. Maybe they can see me. Realize that mountain over there is near my camp. Realize that mountain is connected to millions and millions of hectares, acres, and so on and so forth. Realize a lot of stuff. Realize that I'm going to show you some really good value that a truck or the guy who dropped it off or something like that did not do this. That somebody's come by and actually slid this. And I'm going to give you super strong evidence. Let's dig into it. You can already see that skid mark. Keep that in mind. It's really important to keep that in mind. We're just coming down here to take a look, and you can see this bracket was disconnected. I personally, that's my footprint probably, because I was just back here and I stepped in the muck a little bit. This obviously was disconnected. Okay? See some bolts, you'll see something like that maybe going on the old time. These guys are still using it, unaware that it's in this situation. Okay? With this scraping, look at the scraping. You know, my mind is all, because I've already seen how it has been pushed here. And, okay, the way these lines are showing in there, the wheel didn't turn. That's what my curiosity, because here it shows almost like it's giving a turning value, but no. It ended up just being flushly pushed straight through like that. And the wheel might have done that much of a turn. You know, from that black line on it there to there, so it might have turned up 1.5 inches, because when you're pushing it, it would have rolled back this way, because it has shifted forward and gone that way, okay? So that does show really clear signs of what's going on there. Now look here. Look at the height in the asphalt there. It's got a height on it. Where's our scraping there? We get to see a little bit of it. Do we get to see any fresh damage in that asphalt? Not at all. This is the big denominator on telling us something. I'll take a look from here. It's really good information, guys. You gotta learn to understand how well I can see a lot of this stuff and just figure it out and be along for a ride. Somebody opened that. Somebody mucked around with that also. This is still on there because there's a lock, and there's a lock on this box. You know why that lock is on the box? It's because the guy who is the maintenance guy here, that I tell about all these little breaks that are going on all over the place and cracks and stuff like that, and I've given him information on missing people and everything like that. That in particular guy who watches this site never realized, I guess, that's a security issue. So I told them, I said, you shouldn't have that like that, and blah blah this. I told them, I think I told them a couple of times, I've seen people mucking around with this. So are these his locks, or did he talk to London Drugs and get them to do that? You can figure that stuff out. See that scrape just even right down there on the curb? That's them. There's nothing that comes in here and does that kind of, see that scrape on top there? Just part of it, even on this wall right here, guys. See this coloring, different things going on. Well, this isn't necessarily pressure washing, and it isn't. I can see it's different in its thickness is different. So what this is somebody's come along here and just, because why? Because they're just easing you into it. They're easing you into all that. That is them, okay? And I know it sounds really silly in particular, but get in close and look at that and you tell me. Why is that like that and that like that? And do you see the line? Do you believe it's a straight line, or do you think there's a pressure line there? You see it very well, don't you, even? Look at that. So pay attention. It's really helpful to just flow with me. They make it look ruined. They make it look ugly. It's part of a breakdown. They're just doing their jobs, but in a lot of ways they do structural damage. This is nothing for structural damage compared to what they might be doing at the racetrack at our huge bridge with the cement that's under the water. It's them guys. There's no way for you to look at it other than it's them. See all this caulking that's going on this wall? Discolorations, this stuff. This one, go look around your city. You're going to see that stuff all over the place. See this certain color line there? And then that? And then that color line? 3 different degrees of cleaned. I've scraped. I've gone along and start studying. You're going to start seeing different patterns and stuff. Look at this baby right here. You know, are we going to think, no, Tinman, the water flow just comes down here like that and it happened to clean this part out. That part hasn't gotten cleaned out yet. So remember what I say. They're valley builders. They're mountain shapers. Here is only valley depths. That's why it's filled in with a little bit of muck that they put in here. And here, it's gone in deeper to some extent, and it's actually created a valley. Does it go all the way through? Valleys don't have to go all the way through, but eventually it will go all the way through, and it will do it all the way through here, so on and so forth. All this cracking, you know, there's big cracks around what happens there, and yes, there's a flow of water that happens there too, and so on and so forth. But this cracks there should be letting some water in too, and you don't see those weird drops happening everywhere. When we pack soil on the sides and stuff with our excavator, because we're going to dig out this big lot here, we take the soil, we put it here, and we pack it as we build our pile. That way when the rain comes, it sloughs off and goes like that and doesn't moisten all through that pile that we have sitting there. What do you friggin' think's going on here? Major compacting. Yes, it will fail over time and stuff, but this is a real connecting item. And the manholes, and what that is that's undergroundness. You guys got to bring into underground. You know, you got to bring into, in a way, flight. Like that light of the Iranian guys freaking out, attacking. Look at this. Somebody sat here last night probably chipping away at this. That's what they do. Look at that. I can't even, like, that's hurting my finger. I got a piece off there. But that's actually hurting my finger to do that. That's what they do. Look at, we come along and clean things up. Fire department, making sure that's painted. Or it's water access, ACS. And then here, this one was probably a real joint, and then they just turn around and muck around it, and then eventually we came in there and put in some of this tar stuff that they like to pick away, and then that tar stuff lots of times just ends up on our cement. You come along here and you look at this cement. Here's the change. Look at this wall, see if we get to see any more cracks. Right there, one being worked. There's more. On some of the buildings around our town, they're really quite big. This one's getting more and more. See, there's one right there again. Another one here. And there's buildings around on this site where they're quite a bit thicker. They're, you know, in spots 1/4 inch thick. 1/8 of an inch maybe on average or something. And we got a number of buildings around with this brick design like that, so a foundation exposed like that, and they really like hitting that. That brick wall right there is hit heavier than this one right here. These walls here, which is a tilt-up building, you see their effects. You see them right on their joint things, where the rubber compound in between, they're messing it up where it's not been painted first, making it look like the sun's really breaking it down. And just on those spots, each joint, they're just pocking away to bring out all this. Like, this was much nicer than this without all these holes. This is part of what they're doing, is all those holes and stuff. This one was probably one they did a while back, and somebody either patched it or maybe at construction stage it was packed in there. Yep, it's just life. Peace out from Tinman.